You didn't imagine it. You know something was wrong. You felt it clearly, specifically, in your body before you could put it into words. Something about the way they looked at you. The way they turned your own words back on you like a mirror that had been tilted wrong. The way you walked away from a conversation feeling smaller than when you walked in, without being able to explain exactly what happened. And then they said it, calmly, reasonably, with that particular look of concern that somehow made everything worse. You're too sensitive. That's not what I said. You always do this. I'm just trying to help you. And the worst part, the part that nobody talks about, is that for a moment, you believed them, not because what they said was true, but because they said it with such complete certainty. And your certainty, the thing you felt in your body before you had words for it, started to waver. That wavering is not weakness. It's not gullibility. It's what happens when someone uses a very specific psychological weapon on you. One that's been documented, studied, named, and understood. And once you understand exactly what it is and how it works, it loses most of its power. That's what this video is about. The pattern that shows up in certain relationships, romantic relationships, family relationships, friendships, sometimes workplaces, that follows almost the exact same sequence every single time. It starts with something small, a comment that landed wrong, a moment where you expressed a feeling and instead of being heard, you were corrected, told that what you felt wasn't accurate, that you were misreading the situation, that you were being dramatic or insecure or unfair, and you thought, maybe they're right. Maybe I am being too sensitive. Maybe I did misread it. So you let it go. But the pattern repeats. Different moment, same structure. You express something. You're told it isn't real. You second guess yourself. You let it go. Over time, something shifts. You stop trusting what you feel. You start running your own perceptions through a filter. Does this count as a real reaction? Or am I overreacting? Before you allow yourself to act on them, you become the editor of your own experience. And the editor is slowly, quietly being trained by someone else. This is one of the most effective forms of psychological control that exists. It doesn't require force. It doesn't leave marks. It works entirely through repetition and the human tendency to defer to the perception of someone who seems more certain than we are. And it has a name. If you're finding this useful, subscribe and leave a like. This kind of research takes time to put together honestly, and it helps when the algorithm knows it's worth showing to more people. The term was coined by a 1944 film, a psychological thriller called Gaslight, in which a husband systematically manipulates his wife into believing she is losing her mind. He dims the gaslights in the house, then tells her she's imagining the change. He moves objects, then tells her she moved them and forgot. He isolates her from people who might confirm her reality, and slowly, she begins to doubt everything she perceives. The film gave us the word, but the dynamic it described is ancient. Gaslighting, at its core, is the systematic undermining of another person's confidence in their own perception. It isn't a single incident. It's a pattern, a consistent, repeated process of telling someone that what they see, feel, hear, and remember is wrong, that their internal experience cannot be trusted. Here's why it works so effectively. Human beings are social creatures who calibrate their understanding of reality through other people. When there's a conflict between what we perceive internally and what someone we're close to insists is true externally, we don't automatically trust ourselves. We doubt, we check, we look for evidence. And if the person insisting on their version of reality is confident, consistent, and emotionally close to us, the doubt has somewhere to land. This is not flaw. It's how we function. The same social calibration that makes us adaptable and capable of connection can be weaponized against us. And in relationships where one person is invested in controlling how the other person sees reality, it gets weaponized with precision. What makes this particularly difficult to name in real time is that gaslighting almost never looks like gaslighting from the outside. It looks like someone who cares about you trying to help you see things more clearly. It looks like concern. It looks like patience. And the person on the receiving end often looks like the difficult one, the sensitive one, the reactive one, the one who can't seem to get it together. That inversion is not accidental. It's the mechanism. Let's look at what's actually happening, psychologically and neurologically, when someone is subjected to sustained gaslighting. Dr. Robin Stern, a psychoanalyst and author of The Gaslight Effect, describes gaslighting as a specific form of emotional abuse that operates through what she calls the gaslight tango, a dynamic that requires the participation of both people, not because the target is complicit in their own abuse, but because the manipulator has correctly identified and exploited a vulnerability, the human need for validation and relational harmony. Stern identifies 3 stages that gaslighting targets typically move through. Stage 1, disbelief. The target knows something is wrong. The incidents feel off, but the behavior is so subtle, so deniable, so wrapped in concern and reasonableness that the target doesn't trust their own read. They dismiss early warning signals. They give the benefit of the doubt. They tell themselves they're being uncharitable. Stage 2, defense. The target begins spending significant mental energy trying to prove to themselves and to the gaslighter that their perceptions are accurate. They replay conversations. They look for evidence. They try to construct arguments that will finally be convincing. This is exhausting, and it's also largely futile, because a committed gaslighter will never accept the evidence. The conversation itself is the trap. Stage 3, depression. After sustained exposure, the target begins to internalize the narrative. They stop trusting their own judgment, not just in this relationship, but across their life. They become anxious, indecisive, dependent on the gaslighter for confirmation of what's real. They may describe feeling like they're going crazy. They often lose touch with who they were before the relationship. From a neurological standpoint, research on chronic psychological stress, including work by Dr. Bessel Kolk, whose research on trauma is foundational in this field, shows that sustained exposure to unpredictable relational threat creates measurable changes in how the brain processes information. The amygdala, which handles threat detection, becomes hyperactivated. The prefrontal cortex, which handles rational evaluation, becomes less accessible. The result is a person who is simultaneously hypervigilant and less able to trust their own assessment of what they're detecting. In other words, the brain responds to gaslighting by becoming more anxious and less certain, which makes the target increasingly dependent on external sources to calibrate their perception of reality. And if the primary external source is the gaslighter, the cycle accelerates. There's also research specifically on what psychologists call cognitive dissonance under social pressure. A 2019 study published in the journal Social Psychological and Personality Science found that when individuals receive consistent pushback on their own stated perceptions, especially from someone they're emotionally close to, they are significantly more likely to modify their memory of events over time. Not consciously, not deliberately. The memory itself shifts to accommodate the social pressure. This is one reason gaslighting targets often genuinely can't remember events the way they originally experienced them. The memory has been overwritten by repetition. The gaslighter doesn't need to be right. They just need to be consistent, confident, and close. Real examples. Example 1. The conversation that never happened the way you remember it. You remember a specific exchange. What was said, the tone of voice, the moment it shifted. You bring it up later, not to start a fight, just to address something that's been sitting with you. And they look at you with genuine seeming confusion. That's not what I said. I said the opposite of that. I don't know why you always twist things. You're certain. but they're certain. And their certainty is louder than yours, or calmer, or more consistent. And you start to doubt. Did I mishear? Did I misremember? Am I reading things into it? You replay the conversation. You look for proof. You can't find it. And the doubt plants a root. This is the foundational move. Once a gaslighter has successfully made you doubt your memory of a specific event, the template is set. Your memory becomes untrustworthy, at least in this relationship. And an untrustworthy memory is a very useful thing to have installed in someone you want to control. Example 2. Your emotional response is the problem. Something happens that upsets you. It might be something they did, or said, or didn't do. You express that you're hurt, and the conversation immediately pivots. Now the subject is your reaction, how you expressed it, how disproportionate it was, how this is a pattern with you, how you always make things bigger than they are. Your original feeling doesn't get addressed. What gets addressed is the problem of you having the feeling in the first place. This is a particularly effective form of gaslighting because it uses your own vulnerability against you. You came to the conversation already in a softer, more open state, and instead of that openness being met, it becomes the evidence for your instability. Over time, you learn not to bring things up, not because the feelings stop, but because bringing them up has consistently made things worse. You become quieter, more self-contained. You tell yourself you're growing emotionally. You're actually being trained out of expressing yourself. Example 3. Everyone else agrees with them. This one is particularly disorienting because it introduces external validation for the gaslighter's version of reality. I've talked to other people about this, and they agree with me. Your friends have said the same thing, that you overreact. Even your family thinks you're too sensitive. Sometimes these claims are fabricated. Sometimes they're real but cherry-picked. Sometimes they reflect conversations that were framed in a way designed to produce the desired response. But what they all do is create the impression that the target is the outlier, the one person whose perception of reality is consistently off. Isolation is often a companion to this tactic. If the people who might offer an alternative perspective are slowly removed from the picture, subtly discouraged, painted as bad influences, drawn into conflict, then the only consistent source of reality calibration is the gaslighter, and that's exactly where they want to be. Example 4. The apology that resets without resolving. After a particularly bad episode, they apologize, genuinely, warmly, with all the right words. They express remorse. They say they understand why you were hurt. They promise it won't happen again. And you feel relief. Because this is the person you thought they were. This is the relationship you thought you had. But the apology doesn't address the specific behavior. It addresses the conflict. It restores the peace without changing the dynamic. And within days or weeks, the pattern reasserts itself. The same mechanics appear in a slightly different form. The apology is not dishonest in the moment, but it functions as a reset button that allows the cycle to continue without accountability. And each time the cycle completes, it becomes more normalized. The target's threshold for what counts as a problem shifts. Things that would have been unacceptable at the beginning of the relationship have become baseline, the frog in the water. If you recognize yourself in any of those examples, the doubt, the replaying, the growing quiet, the reset without resolve, leave a comment. You don't have to describe the whole situation. Just say which one hit. Because the people in these comment sections are almost always dealing with something real, and you're not the only one. Here's something that doesn't get said clearly enough. Not every person who gaslights you is doing it consciously. Some are. There are people who understand exactly what they're doing, who have learned that controlling another person's perception of reality is an effective way to maintain power in a relationship, and who deploy it deliberately. These people are dangerous in a specific way that requires a specific response. But a meaningful number of gaslighters are operating from something more unconscious. They genuinely believe their version of events. They genuinely think you are too sensitive. They genuinely can't access the gap between their intentions and their impact. This doesn't make the behavior less harmful. The damage to the target is identical regardless of intent, but it does change what you're dealing with. An unconscious gaslighter isn't going to have a moment of revelation where they suddenly see the pattern. Pointing it out won't work the way you hope it will, because from their position, they're not doing anything. They're just responding to your reactions, and your reactions are the problem. This is why the most practical thing you can do, once you've named what's happening, is not to try to convince them. It's to stop trying to convince them. The goal of a gaslighting dynamic, from the gaslighter's perspective, is to keep you engaged in an argument about what's real. As long as you're in that argument, they're winning. The exit from the argument isn't persuasion. It's trust. Trust your original perception, not because you're infallible, but because a pattern of being consistently told your perceptions are wrong by one person, in one relationship, repeatedly, is information. It's telling you something about the relationship, not about your perception. The most dangerous thing gaslighting does isn't make you doubt a specific memory. It's make you doubt the instrument you use to navigate the world. Your own sense of what's real, what's fair, what you deserve. Rebuilding that instrument is possible, but it takes time, and it often takes distance. Here's what I want you to hold on to. The fact that you doubted yourself, that you wondered if you were the problem, that you gave the benefit of the doubt over and over, that you try to see it from their perspective even when it cost you. That is not evidence that you were wrong. It's evidence that you were trying, that you were being fair, that you had enough respect for the relationship to interrogate your own certainty. That's not gullibility. That's decency, and it was used against you. But here's the thing about a weapon that works by making you doubt yourself. Once you understand exactly how it works, it becomes much harder to use on you. You start to notice the pattern earlier. You recognize the pivot, the moment where your feeling becomes the subject, instead of the thing that caused the feeling. You feel the specific texture of certainty that's designed to overwhelm rather than inform. You catch yourself starting to edit your own experience before you've even spoken it out loud. And instead of following the edit, instead of smoothing your perception down to something that won't cause conflict, you pause. You hold on to what you actually experienced. You give yourself the courtesy of believing what you felt before someone else told you that you shouldn't. That's not a small thing. For someone who has spent time in a gaslighting dynamic, that pause is enormous. It's the beginning of trusting yourself again. The road back from sustained gaslighting is not linear. There will be days where the old doubt creeps back in, where you catch yourself wondering if you're the problem, where the other person's version of events feels more solid than your own. That's normal. It's a consequence of how thoroughly the pattern was installed. It doesn't mean the pattern is true. What's true is this. You experienced what you experienced. You felt what you felt. Your perception of your own life is not a malfunction that requires external correction. It is the primary instrument through which you navigate reality, and it deserves to be treated as such by other people and by you. Trust it. And if this one stayed with you, follow along, because what we're getting into next connects directly to this. The specific reason certain people target individuals who are empathetic, self-questioning, and willing to see their own flaws, and how that targeting works, and what it tells you about how to protect yourself going forward. You're going to want to see that one.